hell's going on?
You are witnessing a front three-quarter view of two adults sharing a tender moment.
Yeah. Let's kick his ass. Let's kick his ass.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
Let's kick his ass.
How you people doing out there? All right, party.
You look like you need a hug. You're not gonna get one from me.
See? Let this kick stand! Calm down, Sean! Don't tell me to calm down!
Oh yeah, let's kick his ass.
Terrorist propaganda! Mao Zedong would have loved you!
I'ma stab and put a lemon in the gash.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Make a splash. Let's hook him up, the jumper cables hit the gas.
I'm just unabashedly and unashamedly broadcasting my obsession on the internet.
I'll get you for this! You won't escape my wrath!
His body in the trunk. Then let's park the car somewhere and blow it up.
Sorry, Link. I can't give credit. Come back when you're a little richer.
Let's punch him in the face.
Okay. You know that I told that I don't want to stay on parade, but I fucking want to stay on parade. This is the best.
Welcome to Winning Time Tapes. I'm here with a little basketball update podcast. I'm joined again by the executive producer, Grink.
Shay sucks.
And we are here the first two games of every series, and I believe one game 3 has been played before this weekend will be all the games 3s and a couple game 4s.
I believe that at least 2, if not 3 game 3s have been played.
Oh, yes.
Yesterday's games were all game 3s.
Yes, last night of time of recording this. Hopefully this goes up on Friday, the 25th. But last night's games were Grizzlies, Thunder, Clippers, Nuggets, and Pistons, Knicks, all game 3.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with some of those series for this check-in. Which one do you want to get Grizzlies and Thunder out of the way first?
That's what I had first on my docket.
All right, I'll be honest. Grizzlies Thunder game 3 is the only game I haven't watched any bit of.
Okay. I watched most of the second half, and I was kind of checked out when the Grizzlies were up 25.
Oh, so yeah, I'm learning. I didn't even check the score because I didn't want to spoil. Because I thought I had time to watch it this morning, but I just hit the treadmill, and then Sac State has been kicking my ass, so I actually just did that instead after finishing Pistons Knicks.
Yeah, and that's why yes. Understandable.
So, dang, Grizzlies took one.
See, that's the thing, is they totally didn't.
What the hell? You're up 25, you turned it off, and they lost anyway?
I think they were up 27 at in the second quarter. They were up 27 points. And I knew they were going to lose the whole time. I was just waiting for it to get good. I was waiting for the Thunder to start trying. I think the Thunder at some point in that game decided that they didn't feel like playing a fifth game.
I see. The only thing I got from you, which again I don't count as, you spoiled the game for me or anything, but you did mention that Caruso owned Jaren Jackson Jr. at some point.
In the fourth quarter, they put Caruso on JJJ, and JJJ had a couple nice plays, but also got stripped clean 4 different times by Caruso. That's a really nice thing to be able to have. The Celtics have had it for a long time, if you include the Marcus Smart era, and they now have it with Drew, but positional versatility on defense always comes at a premium, and Caruso played really nice defense on Jaren Jackson Jr. last night. It was kind of the standout performance, I'd say, of the game, was Caruso's defense.
Did Caruso's defense translate to just fast break offense, or did we open with Shea sucks because of some foul baiting to get back into the game, or what happened?
I'd say that I opened with Shea sucks because Shea just has been missing a ton of shots. Like, he's been horrifically inefficient, which for lead guards this postseason, this playoffs has been kind of a thing generally. But he went 10 for 26 last night. I think he's shooting somewhere around 35% from the field on the series. And he made like a couple really boneheaded, selfish plays as well.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess after seeing Grizzlies up 27 and lose anyway, we could ignore a gentleman's sweep and this is over. Not that we ever had any question that the Thunder were not going to win the series, but the Grizzlies will not be taking a game.
Yeah, it's funny. They were down 12 going into the fourth quarter. I think I said that they needed to cut it to 15 to have a chance. They ended up winning by 6. And it was garbage time. Like, it was a close game down to the wire. It was pretty much the last 2 possessions that sealed it. But I was actually talking with the Unoball chat, and I was saying, like, it's funny. The Thunder almost should not have made this game close, because now that it's close, if they lose this game, I will think less of them. If they just took their blowout and gentlemen swept the Grizzlies, it would not change my opinion. But now that they're in a close game with this mediocre team, if they fumble it, that I will actually think that they're not as good as I thought they were. But they ended up winning, so now they're like extra legit.
Yeah. Just came back anyway, and as you said, decided to not play a 5th game.
They literally made the choice like with 9 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Just speaks to more so how we've been saying for a long time, just the Thunder, Cavs, and Celtics are in a clear tier above. But on to the next game 3, Clippers, I think, have emerged to approaching that tier, but probably as of now at the bottom of it.
Yeah. Clippers title chances?
On the rise.
Certainly on the rise.
The first 2 Clippers-Nuggets games were, for me, just cinema. And I was talking to coworkers yesterday how all excited we were for Game 3 based on the first 2.
I know. And then they got out of the Mile High environment, and like Zoo and James were able to breathe in the fourth quarter, and you saw just how thoroughly better the Clippers are.
Yeah. Shows up in the playoffs, but for the first half of the year, Powell was above average, and then Zubac, I don't know if he won it as of time of recording, but is a most improved player of the year candidate. And
yeah, good call. He really has ascended. Like, the podcasters have been talking about him, and him showcasing his ability to like unlock. Because when Jokic plays, the Nuggets in the regular season were the best offense in basketball. Or they would have graded out that way if Jokic could play 48 minutes. And Zoo's combination of size, power, thrust, lateral movement, basketball IQ, he's just a really nice thing to have. And I've really enjoyed watching him play.
It's interesting. It's mainly on me that we didn't record earlier, but I would love to have talked about Game 1 and 2, because Game 1, we saw the masterclass Westbrook experience of bad and good threes, bad and good gambles, shitting and pissing himself versus winning the game for them.
Game 1 is one of the best games I've ever watched, for sure. Game 2 also.
Yeah, Game 2 also.
What did it remind you of?
Game 1 and Game 2, of this series reminded me of in 2021 playoffs when it was Jokic versus Damian Lillard, where Jokic won now with almost the bizarro handicap of Russ, seeming like he knows that hitting him when he's open is the correct basketball play, but is it the correct basketball play to give decisions to Westbrook?
Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing as you made that point. Like, Jokic always makes the basketball correct decision, but in a sheer numbers game, in a sheer like scored baskets equals points from that perspective,
yeah,
Jokic took 14 shots this game. Do we want to see that get to like, especially when they play in LA, do we want to see that get to like 22, 25 shots? Because he was still 9 of 14, 2 for 3 from 3, 3 for 4 from the line. His free throw shooting has dipped because I think he's getting tired because he's playing more and he's playing harder. I think he's around 68, 69% from the free throw line and a very small, in like 20 shots. He's like 13 for 20. Sorry, go ahead.
So paired with the free throws, I've just seen also in the playoffs, are harder. He has to play more. He's making, for him, like weirder decisions, like the end of game 2 when he was looking for someone to pass it to as the clock was winding down and just tossed up something pretty lazily, or he would he got lost on like a certain Kawhi blow by and just he hit himself in the head playfully afterwards, but just not something you'd see from Jokic. And I think what you hinted on the minutes and demand of him is what's making his brain worse.
Jokic is struggling this series, like the most so in game 3 for sure. I noticed multiple times where it seemed like in the chess match that every team has to play against the Nuggets, Kawhi was winning more often than expected. We'll just take like a second to talk about Kawhi Leonard. I wanted to almost lead with Kawhi because this is so awesome.
He was 19 for 22 on game 2. That was crazy.
Not quite that good, but yeah, he was absurd. Game 2 was Tuesday? No, Monday. Maybe he was 19 for 20. He was 15 for 19. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But but 39 just
you texted me at some point, Kawhi Leonard with 2 legs might be a top 12 talent of all time.
He feels like he has like an anime power or a thing. Like his build compared to how much stronger he is than people doesn't make any sense. He like will bully your team's best defender without a second thought.
When he wants to drive to the basket, he has a Bruce Lee-esque 1-inch punch with the wrist movement to get just all the room he needs to operate.
And he doesn't need much room because that pull-up, especially in the mid-range, is absolutely lethal.
Yeah.
His defense, because the team comp has also been absolutely excellent. Shades of Spurs Kawhi. Yes?
Just paired with Kawhi's availability and efficiency, I wonder how long Harden can keep this up. Not saying that's an inevitable for him to fall off, but that's just what he's been given us so far of his playoff resume. But I'm enjoying when it's on.
I didn't like that Harden had 1 point in the second half. Or no, that's not true. That's not at all true. I'm looking at game 2 because I know he had 17 in the. No, Harden went off today too. Harden was great.
Yeah. And I would really love to see a super high level Clippers team running at their best against the Thunder. Still advantage Thunder because of the team and way more reliable of a system. But I feel like this would be the de facto.
Also, they will still have the best player on the court. I know Shea has not been himself in that series, but Like, I still trust Shea was really great in the playoffs last year. I still trust Shea to come around, and I still trust Shea to be the best player on the court. Also, I wasn't that far off. Harden had 3 in the second half. I know they were like killing them, but just Harden, like, I need to see sustained effort no matter what, or else I'm gonna get concerned.
This is a very for us almost boomer like take of just that's the infuriating thing about Harden. Can he sustain the energy? That's why, people who are fans of 80s and early 90s basketball, not a big fan.
Yeah, and I think we'll end with this. The Clippers are the Clippers. They're always on the precipice. Every preseason until people got tired of being wrong, they were like a pick to win the whole thing, and now they're back there again, and there are a couple question marks still surrounding them. I hope to God we get to see a fully healthy Leonard for the rest of this playoffs. And the way Harden has like rehabilitated himself and become kind of a beloved figure of, an in-between generation in the league, I hope we still get to see, because Harden's offense now, it's not as... I mean, we have much worse foul baiters in the league that we'll get to later. We'll actually get to right after this, but that's a great transition. Jalen Brunson. Should we kill him?
I had another thing, too, also leading into next Pistons about Kawhi's availability. I think one thing that the refs could do to help, not only with just not giving into foul baiting, but the players seeking the whistle, they're colliding to other people and the ground, just to me increasing the risk of injury, which, yes, first and foremost, I don't want people to get hurt, but it also, drops the quality of basketball, rewarding this whistle as people are almost intentionally wanting to injure themselves to make contact with the floor. Just seems bad, and we should get rid of it. And this leads me actually to my good call of the game, where in the third quarter, right after 8 minutes passed, Jalen Duren versus Brunson. Duren gave him a normal amount of contact as Brunson flopped to the floor to take a charge, and there was no call. And that moment stood out to me as a good call.
Yeah, Brunson had another kind of foul baiting attempt that they called an offensive foul, and then they reviewed it, and I believe they overturned it and called it a blocking foul because the dude's feet was moving. And
right,
just this like seeking contact and then flopping to the floor. It's not good hoops, man. It's not enjoyable in the slightest, and they should make a point of emphasis to limit what an offensive player can do in terms of driving without any intention of making an attempt at the basket.
Mm-hmm. Players don't have like a third of the MVP vote, right? That's gone now? Or is that still around?
Oh, God, no. It used to be that only the players voted, and then they got rid of them entirely.
Right, okay. So there is a chance Brunson could get the MVP.
Yeah. What was there a thing that came out that was talking about the most, like, it was a player survey, right? And they surveyed them on a bunch of things.
Yes, the Athletic 100, I think.
Yeah, didn't they say the most overrated player was Jokic?
I didn't read that.
I think they said the most overrated players were Jokic and Halliburton.
Interesting.
I have my thoughts. Cat, yeah. You know who Cat's game?
Yeah, that's a very not Grink opinion.
No, wait, what? Oh yeah, well,
just because you're a big fan of both.
I am a big fan of both. Cat though, how much did you like watching Cat play this game? Because I loved it.
So Cat, the first half I think is good at attacking the basket, and obviously we've known that he's one of the best 3-point shooting bigs. And I think makes Nick's offense when the ball gets passed to him is way more viewable.
He's so good in isolation. Sorry, in the second half.
Yeah. In the second half, we see kind of the side of Cat that I think people didn't like. Not that he had a bad game by any means, but there was a couple of bird brain fouls that he just will never get rid of. And I think maybe they're even more hidden because he has MSG whistle now.
Yeah, and he has some really excellent wing defenders kind of solving a lot of problems that he would attempt to solve in a poor fashion. When Cat's really cooking on offense, he really does remind me of Dirk. I know that's sacrilegious, but that kind of sneaky blow-by ability paired with the turnaround fadeaway and his spot-up range, it is giving me a lot of Nowitzki vibes, which is just an excellent asset to have, and is the reason why I think a lot of people, when they made that trade, were like, okay, the Knicks are actually taking themselves seriously now. We have to take this team seriously. And then they proved that they can't really beat any good teams. So that remains to be seen. Now for the Pistons side of things, let's talk about Cade.
Cade's so good. I know people were like disappointed or whatever in game one, but I even thought in game one Cade had highlights and it was just his first playoff game in the Garden. Not that that should really affect NBA players at this point, but I think he's young enough where it probably did. And I think based on game two, he responded quite well. And I even really liked him in this game.
You liked him in this game?
Yeah, I think he, because there was an early barrage in the first half from Schroeder and Hardaway from three, but I think what kept them close was primarily Cade on offense more than anything. Like, this game to me was still interesting and close throughout, being a 2-point game at the end, because I think of Cade and him being the only playmaker and easy, ask on offense.
Yeah, I just wish... I think his decision making's okay. You'd like to see him make a little bit more of his shots. I guess that's the only thing I have to say in terms of criticism. And he seems to struggle with size in the interior a bit more than, because he's big enough to like move, like do like Luka stuff and like move people around and like bait them. But It seems like he really. I would like him to have a better game plan when he does decide to drive if he doesn't have the dump off. He can make the dump off if it's available, but when it's not available, he's not as crafty as he should be, like scoring inside.
I think he still participates enough in defense where he does dedicate energy to that side of the ball, on top of going through the most annoying team to play against in Hart, Bridges, and Anunoby as his assignment.
It's a tough ask, but he does get around them, and it seems to be that like he's getting kind of messed up by like Mitchell Robinson and Cat when he penetrates. I thought this game was close a lot because Tim Hardaway Jr. had a very hot shooting night. He went 7 for 12 from 3. You won't get that performance again this series. The game was also not as close as the score. The Knicks had this in hand by like about 3 minutes left, I would say.
Yeah, maybe not more than Brunson, as the fans of Detroit let everyone know. But Josh Hart is a rat. Like, he was doing... Like, he could just grab and punch anybody, and as long as he just hit the floor, it's a foul in his favor. It was just... Game 2 was the worst of Josh Hart to me. I hated that. I'm so glad Detroit won Game 2.
I was having a great time watching Detroit win Game 2. Yeah, 11 rebounds yesterday. That's a big difference. 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 6 points. He got a Draymond type stat line. Let's talk about Warriors Rockets then.
All right.
Unless you have more to say about Knicks.
No. Okay. Yeah, I was about to ask you to move on to something.
Yeah.
We should move on to somewhere.
Yeah, I thought so.
For Game 3, I wrote down that, this is, to me, why they went out of their way to get Jimmy Butler. I like to see that the Rockets use the double Adams-Sengun lineup more. I was wondering why Steve Kerr was playing pods this game, and that the refs, despite what happened last night, are still butt buddies with Draymond Green, or just terrified of him.
I think it's Kerr. I think Kerr's the man behind the scenes pulling the strings with the refs. I kind of really hate Kerr, man.
Yeah. 4 Draymond things I had to write down in its own section.
4
was I mean, the ones that need to stand out the most to me.
No, I'm saying 4 is a ton.
Oh. Well, there was one where Draymond elbowed Thompson and it was a foul on Thompson.
Yeah, I saw that.
Draymond shoved Brooks and it was a foul on Brooks because I know Brooks kind of was in the way of Draymond's running path, but still Draymond had an arm extension shoved and that didn't get called a foul at all. Draymond actually caused the Butler injury by holding on to Thompson's throat.
See, I wouldn't go that... I really hate Draymond, but I wouldn't go that far. I think Amin was being a little reckless there, and I would put that more on Amin than Draymond.
So initially, I did as well. I thought that was a reckless play by Thompson, but I don't think he falls down laterally without Draymond hanging onto his throat.
I've seen all the replay angles. I'm firm in my stance as much as I would love to blame Green, but I respect your opinion as always.
I think Thompson was obviously going for the ball as much as he could. I just don't think he goes laterally to the point where it injures Butler without Draymond's involvement.
Okay.
And there was also a Draymond elbow to Brooks' head. That was a foul on Brooks.
Didn't you say that already, or was it 2 hits?
No, that was a different one where Draymond... There was a point where they were running up the sideline. That was the one where Brooks fell down, and when he got back up, he ran in Draymond's way, so Draymond shoved him. There was a different one later in the game where Draymond just elbows Brooks in the head.
Yeah.
So that was the 4 Draymond moments of Game 3. Thoughts on the series overall?
That was Game 2, by the way. They haven't played a Game 3.
Oh, sorry, Game 2, yes.
I think we saw just how important Butler is to this team with the injury and him only playing those 8 minutes. They need him on offense more than anything. I thought the Warriors' defense held up okay. You're never going to see Jalen Green have that game again all playoffs. That's just the 100th percentile Jalen Green game. I still think he stinks. He can get hot, but that won't happen again. The Rockets can still win this series without that happening again, but I think Jalen had just an outlier shooting performance. He took 18 threes, man.
I think this was definitely an abnormal high, but I also don't see him getting 6 or 7 points this series again. I think it'll be...
Is that what he got in Game 1?
Yeah, I don't think it... Yeah, he had 7 or 6 points in Game 1.
Okay. Yeah, it probably will be more than that because of the confidence he got from having this game. He'll just take enough shots to clear that number unless he misses literally everything.
Yeah. Again, I don't think Jalen Green is a NBA compared to the field great player, but I don't think it'll be as bad as Game 1 again either.
Yeah, because of Butler's own ability to penetrate, which is a lot different from Draymond's, just it makes their offense work so much better because Curry has a pressure valve from which he can move off ball. And so their offense was putrid in this game.
Yeah.
And Butler, I believe, has a glute contusion.
Pelvis contusion?
I heard it got changed to glute.
He broke his ass.
He's butthurt. Somebody said that on the ball stream last night, but yeah.
Right. I think the only other thing I would say is my worry coming into this series is still true, where I am still afraid of a close game Rockets clutch scoring. I think Sengun is an amazing hub of offense. I just think there's going to be, as we'll see with Orlando, another perimeter or wing scorer that can ISO Joe it for them at times.
Yeah, I think they didn't. So I think they're better suited doing what they did in Game 1 and playing the 3 is greater than 2 game and just making Sengun beat them in the post from a scoring perspective. They should treat him like teams treated Nash, where they're like, you're going to have to shoot to beat us and you can't do, it's not in your brain to do that to us. So get good.
Yeah. So, depending on Jimmy's injury status, it changes my opinion because I think it was, the Warriors offense having to adjust on the fly, knowing they're not getting Butler back, was so horrendous. Maybe now knowing if he's fully out, they could be better. But I think no Butler, definite Rockets victory. With Butler, possible Warriors victory.
Yeah, I still am going to stay strong, even though I really hated a lot of what I saw in game one. I'm still going to stay strong and say, even if Butler comes back, I like the Rockets here, but without Butler, you'd need a world historic Curry performance to have a chance in this one. And he might be getting a little bit too old for that. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Where next?
Cavs Heat.
My initial point is Ty Jerome, playoff riser.
Ty Jerome's been so great. He's going to make so much money, and good for him because he deserves. He was good when he was on the Warriors too. But he was on a two-way, and people didn't know. We'll talk about him more later. But yeah, he's been so great.
And then counter side is, I think, playoff riser, at least in 3 playoff games, Davion Mitchell.
They can't guard him. It's so funny. I thought that second half comeback that the Heat made was kind of fake. I really don't like the Heat's chances of taking a game. Despite saying that I think I said they would take 2 games, and you bumped it down to Cavs in 5, which is the correct opinion. But
yeah, I actually thought what I saw is Zombie Heat is still real. Just Cavs are too good, and the Zombie Heat went on that run when there was no Mitchell offensively for the Cavs.
Yeah. Zombie Heat, but not enough firepower. There were a lot of bad bounces, some effort stuff, some shooting variance. Not that you are in love with talking about that, but it was not any kind of like schematic or personnel based thing. It was just like the Heat are gonna try to win every game because Spo gets them to play hard.
How we talked about the Clippers and Thunder, the Cavs are just so good. Like the variety that they can get from 3. They had a sequence where it was, I think, like Merrill, Mitchell, Okoro, and then Strus in like back-to-back 7 possessions on offense.
Yeah, they can do that's why, they can do the barrage thing. They can just all of a sudden be up by 15.
On the other side, their half-court defense is
so good.
It's been all year, but just in the playoffs, getting like 4 24-second violations, and then like Hero and Bam couldn't do, they just couldn't beat it without putting up a bad shot.
Mobley is Defensive Player of the Year. Deserved?
I agree. I think the only contention is Dort, but I agree that it's Mobley.
Mobley was awesome in this game.
Mobley was fantastic.
I'm so curious about his ceiling. If he can take one little more leap on offense, he's actually just an MVP candidate. I think he's a little bit better than Mitchell, honestly, but they need Mitchell more in a sense, or Mitchell does the more MVP worthy thing, which is scoring, but Mobley's ceiling, if he can just take one little tiny creation leap on offense, he's going to be the draft sickos are going to be proven right about him.
I would need to see the leap, at least when we're talking comparison to Donovan, because I think Donovan this game was amazing again, as he's been just kind of in his own little personal playoff history. Yeah. Every time the Heat did go on a bit of a run or had something, he would respond either with the correct pass to Garland or someone on the outside, or just hitting the 3 himself again and again. Mitchell is a spectacular playoff watch for me.
Yeah, he really is. He's like if they made an entire player out of 2023 Jamal Murray. He's just that good the whole time.
Exactly. I was thinking that too, just like if it was Jamal Murray 23.
Yep.
Yeah, so Cavs are special. Heat may or may not take a game.
Probably not.
They might just get... Probably not, but if they do, yeah, it's Spo devil work.
Yeah. Let's finish out the Eastern Conference and then close with
the Lakers.
Some juicy stuff, yeah.
Let's do Pacers Bucks.
Pacers Bucks, yeah. I want to do Pacers Bucks.
So, as a Tyrese Halliburton hater, he had a great game 2. I liked what I saw from Halliburton game 2.
See, that's the thing, though. People don't understand how good he was in game 1. That's always going to be the problem. Is there going to...
I think one thing is he didn't need to be... He won, I'll admit, he didn't need to be good in game 1. But, I mean, I don't trust just the counting of him getting assists, because I think that, again, further speaks to my thing of the Pacers are a better team than the Bucks are.
True. I think that he doesn't do the flashy... Like, even as a passer, he doesn't do the flashy stuff. He doesn't have highlight assists that often. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not looking for him to be flashy. It's more so my concern with the Pacers' ceiling in Halliburton is I think he is wired in a way like our other favorites who make correct basketball plays. I just think even less so than, say, wanting Jokic shot attempts, or at time when very stupid people were complaining about LeBron's clutchness. I don't see Halliburton having the will to go solo in moments. But again, I think right now it hasn't come into play because his teams have been up so much and his team's just better. But I think even in the past, I think he struggled with being, some alpha dogness is lacking.
So the difference between like him and Jokic and LeBron is LeBron was the best scorer on his team. Jokic is the best scorer on his team. Halliburton's not the best scorer on his team. Nembhard and Siakam and arguably Turner are better scorers than him. So I don't know if it's even correct for him to be like, okay, I'm taking over now and I'm going to shoot more. Like, he went 3 for 13 in game 1. He was 0 for 7 from 3. Do we want him to like shoot out of that? Like, take the time? I get what you mean. Like, yes, he makes the correct basketball decision like 9 times out of 10, but more so, I just think that he like keeps everybody in order and facilitates like what Rick Carlisle wants. Because I think Carlisle is also a very much a driving force of this team. I think he's the most underrated coach in the NBA. He has them singing. Like, this Pacers team is really, really good. I think there are 3 excellent teams in the East. It's just that the Pacers don't have the talent that the other 2 do. But he had a great game too, and like he's viewed as one of the most overrated players by players because he actually doesn't do anything cool ever.
I think also because, again, I just feel like your argument for him obviously makes him a good player, and I think also a great player. It's just then, if you're not the best scoring option on your team, or maybe even not even the second, then I feel like we should treat him more as like we should revere him like a Franz Wagner than the superstar of this team, and like should be given like all NBA praise.
Because we have a
Donovan Mitchell category.
We have a bias towards good scorers.
Sure, but I mean, even throughout time and like we've always like that's how it's always been, and I just feel like Halliburton. Then, if your argument is, well, he does the other things well, then why is it just Halliburton that gets treated this highly?
Because he's better at it than anybody else, is my contention. That is disagreeable. That is totally I just think he's better at it than anybody else. But the thing, well, not anybody else,
right,
because of who is in the league, but like In his class, he's better at it than anybody else. And then also, I'm also not saying that he can be a true number one on a title team. He'll have to be at best a 1A with a really solid scoring 1B who's also like good on. Like, imagine pairing him, and I think there's a comparison to be made here. Imagine pairing him with Jason Tatum. It would be it would be a movie, man. And Jason's gets hate for a lot of the same reasons Hallie does. A lot of boring stuff, a lot of correct decisions. I think on the Bucks side, all we need to talk about is what is Giannis's future in Milwaukee? Is he gone? Are they going to try to make a trade?
Non-Giannis things I have real quick.
Yeah.
I think Porter tried. I think he showed effort in this game.
He tried.
I think Lillard's over. I think he's done.
He's done as a
And you're gonna hate this, so we don't have to talk about it long. The thing that worked for the Bucks was Portis having size mismatches or Portis having absurd shooting in a great way for them.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a thing I noticed.
Portis presents problems. Yeah, he had 28 this game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never going to shoot 6 of 11 from 3 again, but he was great this game.
Yeah. That's why I think it's more important the size mismatches.
Giannis is so good. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
He's so crazy.
Yeah, I think he's the third best player in the league.
Sometimes I wonder about him and Shea.
Yeah. Honestly.
It's Shea for me. To be clear, don't get mad in the comments. It's Shea for me right now, but I wonder.
The thing is, and I view it differently of, am I ranking who should be more likely the MVP right now, or really who do I want as the cornerstone for my franchise? And I could definitely see the argument of still saying Giannis over Shea in terms of that argument, while Shea is obviously having the more MVP-like season.
Yeah, I can see the argument for cornerstone. It's still Shea for me, even from that perspective, but for sure, watching him operate and be just it feels like he truly is. I don't use this term ever. He's a force of nature.
Yeah. So
is he gone though?
Is Giannis gone?
Yeah.
You thinking Houston, or where would he go if gone?
Houston, New York, New Orleans. Do they trade Brunson?
They're not trading
That's
Brunson.
It's a nice contract. I think they might if they could.
Oh, I just think New York wants to love Brunson right now. So, I mean, I think obviously you should the correct basketball play is to trade him for Giannis.
The beast mode decision is to just flip Brunson and be like, haha.
I would respect New York a lot.
Enjoy the Great Lakes. Enjoy the Great Lakes.
I would respect the Knicks if the front office flips all the Nova guys for Giannis and winning pieces.
Giannis with a bunch of 3-and-D wings and cat eyes emoji. Now we're talking. Now Giannis gets another ring.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of rings, let's go to Celtics Magic. Halliburton with size and a ring. Jason Tatum. Not present.
Tatum gone.
Game 2.
It don't matter.
No matter.
No matter.
A lot of people are correctly and almost overstating Magic are a scorer away. As me and you have talked about, Trae Young almost makes too much sense as a potential landing spot.
It'd be really cool to see Trae go there. It'd be a great fit. We'd get to see Trae do playoff, real meaningful playoff stuff again. We'd get to reevaluate him as a player because he's really hard to evaluate right now. He could be sub all-star level. He could be third team all-NBA level. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Anthony played 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Weird.
Celtics so much better. The threes are not fair. Derek White, I've also made the argument to Boston fans, is actually your second best player.
Derek White's the Celtics' second best player. And the third best player is probably Porzingis.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown's better than Drew, especially this year, but he's probably their fourth best player.
One thing that might be a hot take is I don't think Horford is as lovable as people want to make it out to be. I found Horford's interruption of the game very annoying to just watch, and just him as a person this game was irritable.
I think he's just on the spectrum. Because the free throw thing where he every time somebody misses a free throw while he's on the lane,
he does the little jump scare.
Crazy. I think he's just a little bit touched.
Okay. A problem with also just Celtics Magic Game 2 for me was not a fun watch. It felt like the whistle compared to the rest was extremely soft and just stopped the game a ton compared to the rest of the round ones.
I think the Celtics made that happen too. But in a smart way. I don't know. I have a soft spot for the Celtics team because they're so good.
I don't. Yeah, and I was thinking it wasn't either team's fault or playing up to it. I mean, maybe the Celtics did, but I didn't think it was either team. It was just in general the refs wanted to play that more tight.
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis took 14 free throws, man. They were they were figuring it out. They took 33 to the Magic's 24. They definitely figured that out and played into it a little. Again, not in an annoying way, even just in a smart way. Banchero was fantastic this game.
Yeah, and the most Twitterable clip was his pass, his no look.
Yeah. Franz was also really good. They have two amazing players on their team, and they need a third.
For me, Franz, second half was to me not passive as in he just passed a lot. I think his playmaking's great. I just feel like I didn't see him in the second half to me. I noticed a bunch of Banchero and Wendell Carter Jr. and KCP missing threes. But I just feel like Wagner didn't have a presence in that second half as much as he needed to.
KC pissed. I think he was letting Banchero cook.
Which is fair, yeah. And then
because we've talked about this before, they overlap so much. If Banchero's doing Banchero stuff in a great way, it's harder for him to get his stuff off.
Sure, yeah.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I was about to say the fourth best player on the Celtics had an amazing third quarter.
He annihilated them.
Yeah, it was crazy.
My gosh.
When I think he made a layup thinking he got fouled and then immediately stole the ball and dunked all over their faces.
He had 36, 10, and 5. What are we doing?
Yeah. Celtics, much better team. And as we'll see throughout these playoffs, the teams that will advance, the better teams have more better players.
If you want to figure out who's going to win each series, put what you think one team's fifth best player is against the other team's fifth best player. Whoever's the better fifth best player is going to win.
Yep. Because basketball is that good now.
People are way too good at basketball now.
All right, I think the last one we need to touch on is Timberwolves Lakers.
What on earth? What is this series, man?
I think that the Timberwolves supporters are still right, and Game 2 was just an insane case of LA whistle.
It was pretty gross. It was very
gross. Naz Reid had it felt like 4 fouls by the second quarter.
Yeah.
It was insane. Otherwise, when
Luka also made all of his. He took 11, made 11. That's pretty crazy.
That's fucked up. So I think Game 3, when we're in Minnesota, might be maybe not fully Game 1, but closer to Game 1. I just think the Wolves through Reed, Edwards, and this could be a good series for Randall if he has Rui and Vanderbilt, I guess, on him, which he should be able to beat one-on-one.
Who had the worst plus minus of any Timberwolf in this game?
Julius Randle.
Yeah, Randle. Even when he's good, he's bad.
Yeah.
You actually don't want Randle to be having a good game. I think.
Well, that's why I don't want Jokic to have more than 35 points because I know they're
yeah. That's a good rule also. Need we say more about the brilliance of LeBron James and Luka Doncic?
No.
I don't think so.
I think one thing that the leftover of a debate, a nicely spirited but contested debate I had yesterday was just Tatum should be seen as so much better because Luka's not good on defense. And I feel like a more elevated basketball fan should know and does know that offense is actually the harder part of the ball, and being able to have the guy who could generate the best look when there's 8 seconds left is more important, especially when you're on a better defensive team to have great. It's either to have good defensive effort when your whole team's great at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
So that's my
Luka
thing.
NBA defense is just so complicated to talk about. It's way beyond my pay grade, really, honestly.
All right, so that is our check-in on all the series after mainly 2 games.
It's about half and half almost.
Yeah.
3 and 5. 3 game 3s, 5 game 2s.
Should we check in on our drafted rosters at this point?
Yeah, very briefly. I went ahead and looked at all the players. I think so just to recap, Cameron's squad is Kawhi, Chet, Tatum, Brunson, Dort, Jalen Duren, Caruso, and Dante DiVincenzo. My squad is Steph, Shea, Aaron Gordon, Ivica Zubac, Jaylen Brown, Ty Jerome, Tari Eason, and Andrew Wiggins. So Jalen has been better than Shea. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
So you have the advantage there. That was your 4th pick, and that was my 2nd pick. Looking at Curry and Kawhi, our first picks, or no, not our first picks, but because your picks are like, you did kick Kawhi first. He was just I like underseeded him because I thought he was going to get hurt.
Right.
So yeah,
I'm taking the playoff risk.
Yeah, Curry and Kawhi kind of cancel each other out. I think they've been about as good as each other. Maybe slight advantage Kawhi, but like Curry, just you have to imagine that Warriors team without him, man. Like it's not a basketball team without Steph Curry.
It's actually, it's especially I think 2021 or 2022. It was abundantly clear to me, just like, yeah, the Warriors without Steph is actually comparable to Jokic with, or not.
It is. It's actually definitely comparable. So maybe in terms of actual just like on the court play, like Kawhi has an advantage, but I'm comfortable with like Steph not losing to Kawhi. Chet and Zoo. We didn't talk about him. Chet's been so good. Yeah. And it's a blowout series, so like it's hard to talk about all these Thunder players, but like Zoo's been better than we thought he was going to be, I would argue. Like he's been a playoff riser.
Yep.
Just the way he's handling Jokic's stuff, but like Chet and Zoo also cancel each other out to me.
Yep.
Aaron Gordon and Jason Tatum. Gordon had a kind of disappointing game 2, but an amazing game 1. Tatum was himself in game 1, missed game 2. Remains to be seen what happens there. And then I think I have, if we want to go weak link mood, I have the advantage Brown to Dort.
Brown to Dort.
If Dort's in your starting 5, maybe you're starting Duren.
I see. Okay, because in my head it's like you picked well with Jerome and Tari Eason, but then I think your weakest pick, which I think was only 1 point, was Wiggins.
Yeah, so Wiggins is my worst player. He was my last pick. It was an upside pick. I think he's playing pretty good team defense, but the offense is non-existent. And then I do like Jerome, but like Caruso had that massive game 2 performance, and especially in the 4th quarter. So like, I think my advantage right now is just Brown versus like your 5th starter versus my 5th starter.
Yeah, because I have Dort Duren versus you have Jaylen Brown.
I have Jaylen Brown as my 5th starter.
That's pretty good. Well, I would think it would
Gordon.
be. Well, just like again, Tatum's injured right now, which is part of this. But it'd be interesting when it was just interesting to me comparing Gordon to Tatum when I think it would be like Tatum to Brown.
True. Yeah, we could do that too. But even then, still, Gordon to Dort.
Yeah. I think that's more appropriate. Which Dort did not have a whole lot of points in that last game, game 3.
Gordon's the Nuggets' best defender. Any chance they have of winning the game relies on him being excellent on defense. I thought he was pretty fantastic game one, and Dort, again, has been himself. He hasn't been bad by any stretch, but I do prefer Gordon to Dort slightly. But when Tatum comes back and he's healthy, you're liable to take this running away.
Well, yeah, I think that's another... For me, the difference is just the rise of Jerome and Eason.
Okay. Yeah. No, the bench. Before, because I took a look at this also before the game threes, and so, like, Eason, really? I know Ty's been great. I haven't really loved what I've seen from Tari.
I liked Eason game 2. I can't recall his game 1.
Kind of invisible. Kind of just, like, dragging them down. His game 2 was all right. Good D. He's just a big.
Well, and he was also trying to get into the mix with Draymond. He's like, I know Brooks is the expected answer to that, but I liked Eason's overconfidence to confront him.
Yeah, he's nasty. He's a dog.
All right, well, that has been the Winning Time Tapes playoff check-in. This is probably not going to be every week. I'm, as of now, planning to return to Steven next week, but as always, thank you for this special in the Pindown series of Winning Time Tapes. Thank you, Grink.
You're most certainly welcome.
Go basketball.
Go basketball.